Guys, I have been going through it, and I have some horrible, terrible, gut-wrenching news for me in this channel. I have been in the worst book slump I think I've ever encountered since starting this channel. Following a really good 3 months after I had surgery where I was averaging like 7 or 8 books per month, like all of my reading wrap-ups I think have been on fire lately. And then all of a sudden, like once I get back to work, it was just a brick wall. So I kind of felt like I owed an explanation for why my videos have been like so far apart. And also giving you some updates about what I've been doing to kind of mitigate this book slump that I've been in. But I wanted to talk about some non-book recommendations for when you are in a book slump and what has helped me in the past month. So what's been going on with me? Oh my God. I did surgery and the surgery was fine and I recovered properly and I was like so zoned into every single book I picked up. I go back to the state that I live, I go back to work, and all of a sudden every single day at like 2:30 p.m. I would hit this brick wall where I'd be in a daze, I'd be dizzy, slightly nauseous, and to be honest, I'm experiencing these symptoms as we speak right now. I like got blood work done, I talked to my doctor, we're trying to figure out why I've been feeling this way. So it's been really, really hard to focus on books because of just like the intense brain fog I've been having. And so like it's been hard to just like look at a page with words. Even audiobooks, which usually my auditory comprehension and attention span is actually like, I have a really good threshold for that, which is why I really love audiobooks. I could not focus on audiobooks. That's why I feel like my uploading has been kind of inconsistent, just because I have crazy brain fog all day, every single day. Been really struggling with it. I'm still trying to work through it. We're taking our supplements. I don't think anything is seriously wrong. I don't know. I also just haven't been like super stoked about a lot of new releases. I think I read the releases that I really wanted to read this year. And so like, I'm just kind of waiting for something to cross my desk that's going to like spark my attention. And it's because I'm in a very specific mood. Because I couldn't read, I had to turn to like other sources of entertainment. And I think when I'm in a reading slump, what I really need is like visual inspiration. Like I need to feel drawn into a world that makes me want to like be immersed in a slow way that reading is. So I actually turned to cozy gaming. This is perfect reading time. It was raining every single day and yet I could not focus. So instead I picked up some games that I saw recommended for the fall spooky season on TikTok. And I wanted to tell you guys about them because I think if you're a reader and if you're a fantasy reader, these are like really, really fun options that I think actually really did help me feel like immersed in a world that made me want to pick up reading again. The first game I played was this game called Cabernet. This is so perfect. I mean, for any time of year, but I played it at the beginning of October and it was incredible. It's like a narrative story game, except for like all of your actions have consequences. And you wake up and it is the 1800s and you have been turned into a vampire. You're thrust into this world. You have no idea what is going on. You're scared, you're starving, and there's all of these other vampires around. And it's like a game that walks you through what it's like to live as a vampire and meet all of these different people and build relationships with people. This is actually the core gameplay mechanic, is you can either choose actions that increase your humanity or increase your nihilism. And what I like about this game, as opposed to other vampire games I've played that are like this, where it's like you go down this path only or this path only. This game actually like lets you be a mixed bag. Like it lets you make kind of nuanced decisions, which I found was really, really helpful. I also really like this game because there's like a broad spectrum of different people that you can interact with, both humans and vampires, as you're like going through this like small creepy little village at nighttime. And you also have romancing options. I just like felt so immersed in the day that I was playing this game. It's a short game. It takes like 6 or 7 hours, but that's just to do one ending. You can romance a bunch of different characters, or you can aim for a different type of ending depending on like who you want to survive and all of these different things. Like I've been craving going back to it, but I wanted to recommend it because I know that vampires are very in right now. Vampire books are really in right now. This single-handedly, I think, pulled the most weight for like pulling me out of that slump, that brain fog. My one critique though is the romancing options, I think, is the main allure of this game. But the one person I wanted to romance, which is this like sassy, hot, dark-haired vampire who like low-key hates you at the beginning of the game, for some reason you can't romance him, and I really don't understand why. I wonder if that's just like some inside joke with the dev team because they knew that everyone would want to romance him. And you play a woman vampire. She's a woman, the main character, and he is gay, and so he does not want to romance you. Which, okay, that's fine. But he would have been such a fun option, and I was like disappointed when I realized that it wasn't gonna happen, and I think I held out on too many other possible like romance possibilities because I wanted to romance him in particular. The entire premise and the atmosphere and the music, it just like it gets really creepy and dark at the end also. Like the plot line goes like really, really dark too, which I really appreciated. I just really loved this one. I really recommend Cabernet if you haven't picked it up for like a cozy, creepy game, especially while it's still fall. Second game I played immediately after that, I was still craving cozy games because it was like working for my brain fog because it's like involved enough where I have to actually like use my brain and I'm not just staring at words. I played Strange Antiquities, which is like the sequel kind of, like it's the second game to Strange Horticulture, which is a cozy game that I played years ago that I really, really enjoyed. In that one, you own like a little horticulture shop, like a little apothecary, and you unlock new like magical roots and flowers and various foliage and these things that have different magical abilities that you sell to people who are requesting certain things, or they tell you a story about like, I have this aunt and she's been in our house and for some reason she one day flipped and she's not acting like herself and she has like weird like spots all over her skin and her eyes go black, like these kind of creepy little stories. And based on, you know, the books that you're given and the information that you have available to you, you're kind of able to like use your deduction skills to choose the best plant to sell to this person. And on top of that, you have these little daily quests, which are like little puzzles that allow you to like go into the map of the world and solve these various riddles and puzzles based on these locations. And in these little interactions that you have with the customers in the daily quests, it like gives you a broader sense of what is going on, or like the dark entities that are overtaking the little town that you live in. And it's actually like low-key creepy. Like I'm very easily scared, to be fair, but I would like come away with a little bit of an eked out feeling, which is perfect. But I actually think that the Strange Antiquities addition to this like world is better. I found that there's more gameplay mechanics, there's more little instruments that you have to use, there's more things that you have to pay attention to, more little details that are necessary to uncover which little antiquity to give to someone. So it's the same gameplay mechanic of people telling you their stories, people telling you what they are like looking for, and you having to deduce what antiquity to give them. Strange Antiquities was like weirdly actually kind of difficult for me. Like they don't give you too much information. It actually is a very difficult game, I found. Like you need to pay really close attention to tiny little details, and it doesn't make it super clear all the time. Like you have to use a little bit of intuition to know which antiquities to sell to these people without being penalized. So if you're looking for a little bit of challenge, you love like a spooky atmosphere, you like kind of subtle world building that's just kind of trickled in and a bit of like a spooky vibe to it, I really recommend this. I think it was like a perfect refresh after playing Cabernet that like helped me like want to read like a witchy spooky book after that. Like I think it definitely got me in the zone for fall. My number 3, and this is not a surprise, but the number 3 cozy game that I recommend for fall, or if you are in a reading slump, and you, especially if you're a fantasy reader in a reading slump in the fall, was the any occult pack of The Sims. I do have like a couple save files in my Sims 4, which are like specifically occult storylines that I've been playing with. The Sims 4 is great if you have like a very specific storyline in your head that you want to see played out. It's a little bit more of like a dollhouse. I do miss the randomness of Sims 2 and Sims 3. Like it would just throw stuff at you and you'd have to like figure it out. I think Sims 4 is better if like you're literally like have an idea for a message and a vision and a story in your head that you want to like kind of play pretend with. That's some people's gameplay preference. It's not really my preference, but I do think when I'm in a reading slump, it actually like lets me feel creative, feel immersed. I have one save file that I've been like eating up right now, which is I have a vampire man. He's really hot and I love his gothic house. I made it so cute. And a really cute witchy girl who lives like with this like witchy garden, and she has all of these flowers that she's always working on, and she has like a cute cat and everything like that, and they are best friends who like low-key in my headcanon have a crush on each other. My personal preference is I love family gameplay for Sims, but I prefer the occult Sims packs. I'm one of the few people who prefer the occult Sims. So I especially love Sims 4 Vampires. I was in the mood for vampire games after finishing Cabernet, and I love the Sims 4 Vampire pack. I love the aesthetic of it. It's so much fun, even if you just want to build houses. It just made me feel very fantastical, and it was perfect for the season. And that really got me in the mood to read as well. If you're struggling through a reading slump like I was, pick up The Sims, make up a storyline. It can be really helpful, actually. Side note, by the way, I am a Simmer. I actually considered before I made this book channel if I wanted to be a Sims channel for a second. I saw that EA is being potentially sold to a Saudi Arabian company, and just for the record, I will not purchase anything from EA moving forward if that deal goes through, but there's a rumor that it's gonna fall through, and in that case, I don't know where I'm gonna go from there, but I feel like the EA team has like severely lost a lot of the fan base's trust. I just miss so much about the way that like Sims 2 and Sims 3 was. It feels so soulless and capitalistic lately. And this deal with Saudi Arabia is like such an example of exactly what the problem is with EA and Sims right now. I'm so disappointed. I will not be supporting if they sell to Saudi Arabia. That's just against my personal morals. I still own the other games, so I still play those games because they're already on my computer. But I just want to lay that disclaimer. If you are also a Simmer, let me know your thoughts about that. I've been watching so many think pieces about it, and so many of my favorite creators have left the creator network. It's definitely like shaken up that community that I've like been a part of since I was 9 years old, so much to the point where just like, I don't know, everything feels like a little tainted now. So those were the cozy games that I played, but I also want to mention, since I am a book channel and since I do reading, I have picked up some webtoons. I am someone who is extremely particular about webtoons because I find that a lot of webtoons are romance forward in a way that I think is a bit patriarchal. I don't really jive with that very much. Like, shout out to you if you like some of those stories, but I have found it really hard to find a webtoon that I think like balances that act really well, which is why I love Purple Hyacinth. One thing that I did do is I reread Purple Hyacinth, which came just in time for the creators to officially announce on their Instagram story that they will be continuing and that the current season is in production. So if you didn't start Purple Hyacinth because it was on hiatus for 3 years, great news. It is going to be taken off hiatus sometime maybe in the year, I think. Okay, Purple Hyacinth is a great one. I've mentioned it on this channel several times. I've mentioned it in my enemies to lovers video. I've mentioned it, I think, maybe in my romantic subplot video, and I've mentioned it in a lot of my shorts as well. This has one of my favorite romantic subplots that I've ever experienced in any story, period. But the political storyline, the investigation storyline, the underbelly of this kind of messed up little city storyline, all of those things are equally really gripping, and I think that all of the characters in this are really fleshed out in interesting ways. They each have their own unique traumas, and a lot of them are guided by what the politics of this world has put them through in various ways. So I was really impressed by how the character work is handled in this, and I love Kieran, who is an assassin, and Lauren, who is a police officer slash investigator. Their romantic subplot and their begrudging allyship and how they like have slowly come to trust each other is so beautiful and is such a gripping like romantic subplot for those of us who like a true slow burn. Really recommend it. I reread it in my reading slump and it was very, very helpful. Another thing I read, which I put this off for a long time because everyone, when I read Purple Hyacinth, was like, you have to read Mafia, Nanny. And for some reason, I didn't take it seriously. I think because I saw like how comically huge and hot the main male character is compared to the main female character. Whenever I see that in a webtoon, I don't know, my brain shuts off and I go, I don't think that's for me. But then I actually picked it up and I just gave it an actual honest try. That's still true. He is like almost comically hulking huge and hot, but it's like it works in the story. I don't know how to describe it. This is about our main female character, Davina. She's a graduate of this very specific special agent nanny academy where they are real nannies, but they're also like really well trained in like security detailing and cybersecurity and combat as well. So they usually get hired out to like very important, like anonymous families essentially. So she is hired by this mafioso. He is like the son of this like big mafia boss, and so he has like a lot of enemies, and so she is tasked with watching his toddler son, basically. I think what surprised me most about this webtoon, it's so genuinely funny. It's actually very delightfully funny, despite like how much action and drama there is and real violence. Actually, there's very, very funny moments, especially because the toddler acts like a mini mafioso and he wears a suit every single day and he thinks that he's actually like leading this mob, basically. It's really, really funny, and I think that Davina's relationship with this young son and with the father is actually really touching and really interesting. I picked this up because I was in the mood for a slow burn, and this is a slow burn. They still haven't like gotten together in this series. It's been like over 100 episodes at this point. but they have these little moments that I was squealing, screaming, crying. I really, really, really like this. I think that it's really, really fun. And also the plot is like fast-paced and gripping too. There's like certain critiques I have of it. Like I can kind of go on, and maybe I'm the friend that's too woke, but this webtoon actually takes place in like our actual world, and the mafia that he's a part of is actually like an Italian mafia. I think you're towing a line is what I'm trying to say. And I definitely had to like suspend my disbelief. I think it would have benefited from it being like a fake world with like fake countries and the way that like Spy Family is. I think that would have been better, more tasteful, less unserious to me. But like you can suspend your disbelief, and it's overall a fun webtoon that I think scratches an itch if you're looking for like a good romantic subplot, but you want to actually be gripped by like stuff going on in the plot as well. And it's funny, and it's cute. I really recommend it. I thought it was really fun, actually. In the last webtoon that I read that I was actually really pleasantly surprised by, I haven't heard, like, many people talking about it, but I do recommend it, especially for the people who are fans of Purple Hyacinth more, because it's not as much as a comedy as Mafia Nanny, which was in the Bleak Midwinter. This is a sci-fi apocalyptic webtoon, and I was, like, I picked it up kind of on a whim, and I say, like, the first few chapters, I was, like, so-so about it, and then I got like really deep into it really, really fast, and I came to really, really enjoy the story. I thought it was so gripping. This is very much a drama. Like this is not a comedy. There's funny moments here and there, but this is not a comedy. No internet humor in this. Very much a drama. And it is about this girl who recently lost her sister, and she blames herself for it. And it's in this like far futuristic world where they have like developed like humanoid robots and like artificial intelligence, all these things. And there's this massive artificial intelligence company that is rolling out this new program where you can basically go to sleep for a year. She's really in the trenches of grief, so she decides to do the like 1 year sleep. But something goes wrong, and instead of being asleep for 1 year, she is asleep for 25 years. And when she like wakes up, she breaks out of this like containment that she was in, and everything is completely decimated. Outside is inhospitable. It is in a permanent bleak midwinter, and the air is toxic to humanity, and humans have since gone underground, and they're at war with these humanoids. That premise sounds kind of corny. Like when I say it out loud, that sounds like a little bit on the nose and corny. I don't know how to describe it. When you're reading this webtoon, it actually is so immersive, and it actually feels really well done. Like it's just really fun. There are like particular plot holes I picked up on. Like there's particular little things I was like, let me suspend my disbelief for that. But overall, I felt like the drama, the intensity, the way that trauma is portrayed in this is really gripping. And also, there is like this funny TikTok premise that it starts out on, which is that like everyone knows like when they'll meet their soulmate. I feel like I was like so about that premise until I realized like I think that the author of this webtoon very quickly realized that like they have more skills than needing to rely on a TikTok-y premise like that, because they like quickly kind of like not wrote it out, but it became a little bit less of a emphasis because this apocalyptic war was like way more interesting, and the author is like way better equipped at handling an actually interesting plot without having to rely on something kind of schlocky like that. So it still exists, but I just want to warn, that is in there. I also thought that was, again, schlocky, but it's really like actually not a huge emphasis, and like the war plot becomes much more like integral to the story. Also, there are romantic subplots in this that I was eating up. Again, slow burn, enemies to lovers. You can tell that this author was going to go in a completely different direction with the romantic subplots, and then wrote in like very, very interesting chemistry between two characters that weren't set up to be like have a romance, and then like went in that direction instead. I actually respect that choice. I think more people should just admit that they wrote something with more chemistry and decide to do that direction instead. No shame in it, you know what I mean? Go where the chemistry takes you. This webtoon went where the chemistry takes you. Honestly, really highly recommend. I actually really enjoyed it, and I don't see like anyone talking about it, but I thought it was really fun. So if you've read that, let me know your thoughts. That was like perfect though for getting me in the mood for like heavy like world building, intense drama with like, again, a romantic subplot to like kind of string me along. That was like perfect for the brain fog element that I was in lately. So those are the cozy games I played, and those are the webtoons that I read to assist with my reading slump. I am trying to get back into it. It's slowly but surely we're like getting back in the pace of things. I'm hoping to have like more updates soon, and I'll be posting about books again, but I just wanted to tell you what I have been doing in the meantime. Let me know what you do do to get out of a slump, or if you have any recommendations for Victorian vampire books with a good subplot, that's actually what I want to read right now. Let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.